split from one end to another, but if it will survive, I can get it nailed down. If it'll hang together till I can get it on the rails and nailed down, put 2 or 3 nails in each side, it'll be just fine. So looks to me like we're going to have to make walkways here, utilize some of the lumber. One more 2 by 12, and we got a 2 by 8 over there. We can put it up. Well, there goes those spiders. They get a kick out of them. They come running across here. They don't bother spinning the web. They just jump off the side. Yeah, I got a reputation, I guess, here. But anyway, they're pretty thick, like I was saying. I didn't actually realize there was this much wood down here. I mean, it's been stacked down here for, like I say, about a year and a half, I guess. But it didn't really look like that much leaning up against the hill. But I'm pretty tickled, actually, if there's this much of it, because I really need it. It's kind of a race if I can get those walkways put together here to get around to take care of the chickens, and I can make one between the deck in front of the small office trailer and over to the green storage container, before it rains, because in this part of the country that can happen at any moment. We can go from a beautiful day like today, this afternoon it can be pouring, and never reverse it for 7 months. In fact, when it usually sets in, we're in for a long duration of rain. Conserve on that one a little bit. Sure that blade there is getting a little bit dull, because that wood there shouldn't have been really that hard to cut. But you know, it's not going to last forever. Okay. I don't know what to think about that. Oh, we got this one more to cut here. And that's 2 bys. Still here. Pretty, oops. I don't. Anyway. And I have that. That's another one here. Split for the last 1.5 foot down here, right in half, but if it'll hold together, it can be used. So, that one there, we'll just try to keep these pieces together here, but it'll still be okay. First one we got out of here is actually the same way. It's falling apart too. Well, let's see. Should have brought my bucket so I can sit down and work on these things. On my chair or something. Sit down here for a minute. I don't even know if I'm still on camera or not. I'll turn it just a little bit here. Maybe maybe you can see me over just sitting down. But oh my goodness! You know, I get to looking around here. I didn't look back over there. We got one more 2x6 over there, so that can go. And these 2x2s, I think I'll just load them up. They'd make some good little sticks under, you know, like we've got quite a few of these, what I call 5-gallon propane tanks around here for various things. And they would work fine for a couple little runners under a few planks to keep the propane tank up out of the dirt, mud. Don't need anything much bigger than that. But as soon as we cut that 2x6 up over there and load these 2x2s, then I'm going to whack this horse off right about the bottom of these braces on here. I'll have to measure and see if they're on there pretty straight. Other than that, we'll take the brace off, put it back on later. But that one over there, the brace is down too far. I got the idea of how these particular sawhorses are made off of the internet, actually. I don't know, they call them I-beam braces or something, and or I-beam sawhorses. I guess that's what it was. Anyway, they're really strong and easy to make. pretty darn rigid. I think I got, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 pairs of these around here someplace. Some of them are holding up animal cages or chicken cages or whatever and stuff, but they're always handy to have. And of course these are a little bit higher than a lot of people would have their sawhorses, because I'm 6'8", and I don't like to bend over all the time if I can help it. Just really taxes my back too much. But anyway, we'll get that 2x6 whacked up and load this other stuff. We got a 4x4 over here. I wish we had 2 of those. I don't think we do. I got a project I could use a couple 8-foot 4x4s. But of course, you know, there again, we didn't have 4x4s for a lot of stuff, and to come close to it, we just take and laminate a couple 2x4s together. In fact, this little building behind us here we call the deck room. The floor beams in that are laminated 2x4s, which, you know, it takes a little extra work putting them together, but they're strong. The weak link in that little building was the OSB, and I put a double layer in there, and even so, where it got some moisture came in through the door or something, it fell apart. You would think that by now they would be able to glue it together better or something, but I guess you know, they figure it's going to be in where it's dry all the time. I see down at the lumber yard though, they've got a new type of OSB that they guarantee to set out in the weather for a year and a half or something. And of course, you know, the joke is, guys, where are they talking about setting out in the weather a year and a half? Arizona or something, you know, New Mexico, where it doesn't rain very much, or Washington. This, you know, for you people that don't live around here, if I wanted to take the camera and it would work really good for close-up stuff, I could take you and show you fungus growing that looks like worms, that it just grows on stuff around here because of the climate. We've got all kinds of fungus and stuff that grows here naturally, that all of it pretty near eats or destroys wood. And then a whole variety of insects that do too, but anyway, this is not a friendly environment for wood without being treated, or at least being up off the ground. Like these walkways, if they're up off the ground, except for the runners that are under there, they'll last for several years, just like a boat dock or something. But you gotta space them. I usually space them about 1.5 inches, the width of a 2x4, so they get plenty of air and water and snow can run off them and so forth. And the main thing is where they can get air around them, and they get wet and dry out, and that's okay. But if they are where there is just wet all the time, then the fungus takes over and destroys them in just a very short time. I think here in this climate that people have spent a fortune over the years with dry rot, and well, dry rot is one thing, but we've got wet rot too. That's the other thing. We got every kind of rot there is, and kind of gets expensive if it's your home or something. Well, the worst part about sitting here is, you know, with the arthritis, is the longer I sit, the more comfortable I get, and then it hurts more when I get up and start moving again. So it's kind of like you don't want to get up and do anything. You know, it's like you have to force yourself to say, get up and go, because it isn't going to get any better. About it. This is a 2x8. 2x6 first looking at it. That's all right. We got nothing against 2x8s. We got blackberries. That's another thing we got around here. I've always thought that Washington, you don't find very many commercial blackberry growers in Washington. And we have the most perfect climate and soils for blackberries. And they grow in abundance wild in the woods. And of course, that's where most people get them, you know, and make pie or preserves and stuff out of them, actually. But the thing is that there's probably millions of tons of the things that go to waste every year, and kind of sad in a way because they're delicious. And yet, I don't think you could get any people to pick them commercially anymore. I know on the farms I worked on, we had a lot of trouble getting people even to cut asparagus. And we had several hundred acres of it, and you had to harvest the stuff every day pretty near. And we had about 2,000 people that worked in the asparagus harvest, and most of them were Filipino and Pakistani, and they lived right there. They had barracks, and they lived right there on the farm until the harvest was over. They did a good job, but nevertheless, it wasn't easy finding that many people to do that kind of work. And it wasn't that it didn't pay high wages, because it paid minimum wage. But it had some benefits to it too. They got meals, lunches and stuff, and a place to live. And we're not talking about a shack. I guess I was fortunate, because the farming companies that I worked for were good companies, and they had decent owners. And these people not only were farmers and they wanted to make money, but they also cared about people, and they were not abusive to the help. And one place west of Lodi, California, our barracks were exactly the same type of barracks as the military used in California for many years during the Second World War and after. So they had, hot and cold running water. They had some cooking facilities in there if they wanted to fix their own stuff, because a lot of these people, like I know the Filipino people, they like to fix a lot of their own dishes. The company had some food for them too and stuff, but they had their favorite stuff that they like to do. They ate a lot of rice and various other native dishes. Pakistanis did the same thing. They were more into making bread and stuff. They had quite a few things they liked to bake. But anyway, they had good showers, good toilets.